All right, we just continue to just watch a football team get better every day. Three pretty tough practices going into week 2 of fall camp, and just watching these guys continue to hold each other accountable, push through. Energy level's been great. Guys are getting better, getting plenty of reps. We've got a few little injuries that we got. It just comes with football. Gives the next man up mentality. Guys are ready to go. Thank goodness we've been getting a lot of reps. You put guys in there and you just keep moving forward. And so, just a quick injury update. CJ should be back in about 2 weeks. We're anticipating. Had a knee sprain. Austin Capps, same thing. Something been bothering him a little bit, but he should be back by the first game. Colin Jackson. Colin maybe 3.5 weeks or so. It's a reoccurring injury, but from the same knee. But he'll be fine. Just going in and cleaning a few things up, so we should get him back as well. We opted to go ahead and do all 3 of these now and keep them from lingering. Where we're at in fall camp, especially with all these other guys behind him getting reps. Pac-Man's great, had an interception right here in a 2-minute drill today. I know he was in green today. A lot of it is just a little precautionary and just making sure that you understand when you're in a green jersey, you're not hitting and nobody's hitting you. But he's getting some good work in. TJ Hammonds, we expect TJ back any day. Concussion, but we expect him back. Nothing that we hadn't already been through his protocol. So Noah Gatlin, we know the status. We talked about that. But Colton Jackson was in a yellow today, and just from a rest standpoint, from a foot injury that he's had. But we just pulled him back today, and Brito Tutt. Same thing with Brito. But outside of that's where we're at. And I know you're this far into fall camp. You got 10 practices in, 11.
It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. Yes, once again, we come to you, our 30-minute podcast for about 30 minutes. We're going to recap today's show. I had a chance to meet with Coach Chad Morris following today's day 11 of fall camp. And they were in shorts, and I think shoulder pads and shorts today. Demetrius kind of getting their bodies back. They'll resume back in fall camp in full pads tomorrow, Chad was saying. But a lot of excitement. Chad seems to be really excited about where they are in fall camp. Talked about a few injuries. Big note, big-time tight end, senior tight end, Cheyenne O'Grady, has had surgery earlier this morning. Had a little I think an injury due to the ankle. He'll be out 2 weeks. I don't think you'll see Cheyenne the Portland State game, and if it were me, I wouldn't play him. I'd bring him back 100% healthy for the Ole Miss game. I think that's going to be the more important game because I really feel good at the 3 tight ends that'll have to step in and be next man up out with O'Grady being out for these 2 to 3 weeks. But yeah, just 2 to 3 weeks, he'll be back, and I think he's going to be even better when he does get back in. But when you look at this, Demetrius, you find out one of your big-time offensive skills players go down. Where does that put you? Because I'm of the belief they have enough depth now with Grayson Gunner, with Chase Harrell, and with Hudson Henry that they'll be able to withstand game 1 until they can get number 85 back out there on the field.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think we do have enough depth at that tight end position to get through Portland State. But I think CJ O'Grady, as we get into the SEC conference and that gauntlet, we're definitely going to need CJ because he's a guy that he automatically creates a double team. And I think with the type of offensive line that's going to really need a supporting cast around them to really do some things for them too, I think CJ is definitely needed.
Minor injuries that they were holding out, I believe. Monte Suave was held out of today's fall camp, day 11, due to he has asthma, and it was really, when I had a chance to see the guy out on the football field, it looked like it was bothering him. So they withheld him from practice today. Also, too, Greg Brooks, who's been out, came back, was in the yellow jersey due to a hyperextended thumb that occurred, I believe, during the scrimmage on Saturday. Also, too, Eric Gregory is still going to be out for another 2.5 weeks. High ankle sprain with that young man, as well as I believe they had Jarquez, Pac-Man, but it was just precautionary. There were some players that were in either green or yellow, and they were precautionary reasons. Nothing real serious. Just, kind of put them in the cooler. They played really well and been real physical in fall camp leading up to today. So some of the injuries not as big as you anticipated. You kind of, for the most part, feel good the way camp has gone. Fairly healthy camp for the most part, Demetrius. And, I think that's going to really, really pay dividends. And I did see, that receiver room. I think Carlin Jackson will be having a little arthroscopic surgery to clean up some things from, nothing major, but, I think the knee that he had surgically repaired had some little loose cartilage in there. He'll be back here in about 3.5 or so weeks. Probably around that game 3 or 4, you'll see Carlin get back on the field. But other than that, like I said, it's a healthy football team. And the receiving core, we just talked about it, my producer and myself. It's a very impressive room. A very impressive room, to the point where several years ago, Demetrius, when we looked out there, you did not have this much depth, or for that matter, the playmaking ability that this wide receiver core is going to have, and the speed. I mean, it's gotten taller, it's gotten faster, and there's more playmakers. I mean, Trey Knox, it was his birthday today. Happy birthday, number 7, from the guys here on the hill. And you could tell he had a little extra bounce in his step, and they went 7-on-7 period. The receivers and the corners, I keep talking about it. I mean, step for step, they make plays. The defense will make plays in the secondary, and I think that's going to be real good. But you're looking at that receiver core. We just talked about that. Somebody's going to have a seat, dude. Somebody is going to have to take a back seat, so to speak. When you look at this list, because, the list goes on. There is a long list of talent at that position. Out of the guys that we mentioned, who do you see kind of maybe not getting as many reps come Saturday as you might have thought until this freshman class came in? Who are some guys that you're really going to keep your eye on?
Yeah, I think Davion Warren is one of those guys. I think he's definitely going to play a role as far as special teams and getting out on the field in some packages of that wide receiver group. But I just think when you look at size, that receiver group, it's hard not to put TQ Jackson, Traylon Burks, Trey Knox out there versus the Davion Warren. When you're talking about, yes, he does have 4.5 speed, but you're talking about guys that have 6'4" and have 4.4 speed. So if I'm looking at this rotation, Davion's going to definitely be on the travel team because I think they're going to give him some special duties. But I think if I had to look at the receivers, that's going to be actually hard to actually get in that top 2 rotation.
I think that, when you look at it, I know it's been announced, when we spoke with the coaches that, and Chad Morris, we'll let you hear part 2 of his post-practice press conference we had with Coach Mo today. But he made a mention, and the question was posed, how many starters, how many of these freshmen at receiver will play? And Chad quite candidly said 3, possibly 4. We know, without a shadow of a doubt, Traylon Burks, Trey Knox, and then I think, TQ Jackson, who Coach Morris alluded to as having elite speed, not average speed, but elite speed, another 6'4" guy, and also 2 Shamar Nash. So you're talking about 4 freshmen at that spot. Then you're going to talk about, on the defensive side, Coach Caldwell had mentioned there's going to be possibly 4 starting at the, playing in the defensive end rotation. And Coach Chavis also, too, he mentioned there's going to be freshmen in the back end, possibly 3 or 4. And then the linebacker core, they're going to have some freshmen in there, too. this is going to be a group on Arkansas offense and defense that we'll probably see anywhere from 8 to 13 redshirt freshmen or true freshmen having an impact on this football team, which has to bode well. I know when you hear that, you kind of cringe if you're a Razorback fan, but if you see the physical bodies of some of these kids, and in particular some of those redshirt freshmen like Andrew Parker, you will have a different approach at what these kids are able to do. I really feel like this freshman, when you go back to Demetrius, Chad's brought in over 50 recruits since he's been here. And so you can kind of tell when you look at the recruits that he's brought in as opposed to the recruits that were here. Vast difference in size and, a little bit in talent. I mean, is that a good thing? Because I think it's a really good thing when you're able to – and also what I need to ask you, are you surprised that Chad's able to almost get depth that you need? Because you can see depth in those offensive and defensive lines. Now you're starting to see it at in the tight end room, the running backs, over at the wide receivers, in the secondary. Is that something that – did you see this coming when Chad was first initially hired, that he would be able to start building depth so early in his coaching career?
I do, because I think that's the real reason he got the job at Arkansas. I think if you look at some of the coaches that were available at the time before the Chad hire, there were guys out there with more credibility than Chad, but we based his ability to recruit and not only recruit at a high level, but in the state of Texas. And I think, again, Chad has done those 3 checkpoints as far as why they brought him to Arkansas. So I'm not surprised, because I like I said, that's what he's been selling the program the entire time.
Well, we caught up with Chad, Coach Mo, and we're going to let you hear part 2. And then we'll be back with much, much more Razorback talk. But here's Coach Mo and part 2 of our media availability.
Tomorrow we'll go through. We'll pull back on Friday, get ready for Saturday scrimmage, and be ready to go for Saturday. With that, I'll open up for questions. Raise your hand, get back to you.
So are all these surgeries and are like arthroscopic?
Yeah, it's going in, cleaning it up, and they should be back in a couple weeks.
Any of the backups stand out? They got extra work with them now.
Well, it was good to have Hudson Henry out there today. He had been back the last couple of days, but he was in full go today. So that was good to get him back rolling. Chase Harrell continues to impress us at the tight end position. Grayson Gunner's having a really good camp as well, Blake Kern. So those are some guys that are really stepping out. We were able to move Myron Cunningham back to left tackle. And Kirby was in, as well as Dalton Wagner. So those are guys who get some first team reps in there, and Shane back at right tackle, right guard.
Who was working first team right tackle?
Kirby.
Okay. With the quarterback competition, I mean, we look out there and we see Starkle's big arm and stuff, but who's moving the ball? Who's moving the ball down the field?
Well, it depends on what period you're really talking about. I mean, there's different periods, situations, and one guy may have a little bit better period than the other, but in a 2-minute situation, right here at the end, we had an opportunity to bring the ball down, and both guys were leading their team down, and we were unable to convert the 2-minute situation offensively. So I'd say, whether you lead the ball down, lead your drive or not, lead your team down the field, is can you get them in the end zone? And they both showing, all of them are showing flashes. All 3, 4 of them are showing great flashes. But it's consistency is what we're looking for.
Oh, you just mentioned Gunter and Harrell. Which one of those guys would be first team?
We'd probably open up with Gunner, with Grayson right now. But again, whether it's first, he may get the first play and Chase is in there for the second play. I mean, it really probably a lot depends on the play.
Do you anticipate another lengthy scrimmage? You think you're going to go out on the grass, or how does that all stand? Can you talk about that?
Well, we won't be on the stadium this week. It'll probably be one more week before we get out there. I do not anticipate it going as long. We got a lot of our former players that are coming in, so our former player barbecue. So we're excited to have our former players back in town and being around our players, our team. I don't anticipate it being 170 plus plays. I mean, we're going to well excess of 100 plays, but we've got it kind of by design. A lot more of a situational I want to see what we're doing first down, playing second down. We're doing a lot of red zone work this week, short yardage work this week, and so that'll all carry over to Saturday in the scrimmage as well.
The takeaway part of things, it seemed like the defense might have been getting a lot early on, but Joe came in here and gave us the stats, which didn't seem like it was as bad. But it looks like the last couple of days, the offense has not had many takeaways. So the give and take of all that, do you feel better about your ability to not turn the ball over and force more turnovers?
Well, we're getting a lot of reps. That's one thing, and you can do the numbers, do the math, and all that. And really, it's the way I look at it, it's one play right there. And did you turn the ball over or not? Yes or no? And we don't want to have any turnovers. That's our goal, is to have 0 turnovers. Defensively's goal is to have 3 turnovers.
Welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, and we let you hear more audio from today's post-practice media day availability with Coach Chad Morris following fall camp day number 11. A lot has taken place. They were out in shoulder pads and shorts, kind of taking a day off from the physical grind of fall camp, but they're going to go back right at it. Coach Morris was stating they'll be back in full gear tomorrow throughout the rest of the week. Looking for a big scrimmage on Saturday as his former players. They're having a big-time barbecue for all the former players. They'll be coming back and doing this version of the 2019 Arkansas Razorbacks. And I think what they're going to see is they're going to really be impressed with the physical body, with the speed. Now, Chad did mention in his press conference they're getting faster, not as fast as they want to be, but he has seen some added depth in this program. Also, too, I want to make a note, and I think there's a subject we need to discuss: the bashing of our players. C.J. O'Grady put out a tweet last night, and it really didn't say much, Demetrius, but the fan base and the way that they, go at kids and knucklehead. I'm just going to say it very classless. That kid is somebody's son. That kid is somebody's brother. That kid is somebody's uncle. He's a human being, fans, before he's a Razorback. And I think sometimes we forget that these are kids, and they're going to make mistakes. I know in 22, I know I made some knucklehead decisions or some bad decisions, but that don't make me a knucklehead. So I think, watch what you say toward these kids, because you don't know who's watching. I mean, there could be a prospective recruit watching and seeing comments that you make with these kids, and it could cost. And this kid could be a big-time difference maker. But just always remember, these kids have families, and what we tweet and say, and it's an old saying, Demetrius, everybody is tough and hard behind the keyboard. Everybody. If you can't say it in front of the young man, don't say things that you can't say in front of that particular individual. But I'm going to get off my soapbox, and we'll leave it at that. And then back to football. What will you be trying to keep an eye on, Demetrius, in scrimmage too? I'm going to see how much progression from the quarterback spot. Will there be a quarterback that starts to kind of separate himself? Now, Chad made mention in today's press conference that they'll probably do an announcement. I think they're going to have another scrimmage after this scrimmage the following Wednesday. So I think that's going to be something they're really going to start honing in on and trying to. He said he tried to get that quarterback in place and kind of rep him for about a week and a half, 2 weeks leading into the game. But I think this is going to be a real big scrimmage, not only for quarterbacks. Outside of quarterbacks, what position do you think is going to be under the biggest microscope as far as finding those starters at their particular positions?
Honestly, Pat, I know the scrimmage is for the players, but I'm actually going to be watching the coaches, because there was a few games last year, in particular maybe that Colorado State game, that I was very upset with. That I feel that the play calling is what led us to lose that game. A lot of people said the interception at the end. Yes, the interception did lead to ultimately losing the game, but people didn't look at the plays and what happened prior to that led up to some of those decisions and the plays that we had to run at the end of the game. So really, I'm looking at how these coaches are really going to script this scrimmage and what I'm really going to see from the offense as far as play calling and what really makes sense, because I think there's too many weapons on the field for us not to be able to move the ball this year. We've been raving about these freshmen. We've been raving about Ben Hicks. We've been raving about he's taking these steps. I want to see a good call game. Now, I'm not saying I'm expecting every play call to work. I'm not saying I'm expecting every offensive decision to be a good one. But what I am looking is for a flow. I'm looking for a flow within the offense from the play calling standpoint. Like, does this play make sense calling this after this? Because I feel like a lot of the times last year, and I think that was probably due to some of the personnel, we put ourselves behind the sticks because we were forcing things and trying to do just too basic. So I'm just really eager to see how Coach Craddock is really going to call this offense this year. You know, I was one of those people that said, hey, Coach Morris is going to be a head coach and he's a guru of offensive play calling. You know, I was one of those guys that said, man, Chad needs to take on the responsibility of play calling until we get to a winning standard. But you were one of those guys that said, you know, Chad trusts his staff and trusts Coach Craddock to do what he needs. So I'm really just ready to see from a coaching standpoint, are these coaches, these young coaches that we have in coordinator positions, ready to coach a game in the SEC?
I think I feel real good about what I've seen. I can tell, and Chad made a note that about 65-70% of the offense is in, and you can tell light years. I've seen different formations, different plays that I didn't see last year. There's less teaching. You know, there was a lot of plays that were being run in practice, and they'd have to go back and teach. You know, the what and the why. You know, and the reason why that every play plays off into another play, I can definitely tell that. And like I said, the communication, I think that's the biggest thing, is that they understand the work ethic, they understand the demand, they understand what it takes to run the Coach Morris offense. I think Coach Craddock has a better understanding a year now with the kids in the system, and having gone through 2 springs and going into his second fall camp, you start to understand more about, you know, your team. And I think even when you add that depth, when you bring in freshmen like Trey and Traylon and TQ and Hudson and Amonte Spivey and those type of guys, it's going to enhance, you know, the guys here on campus to learn more, get in that study room and learn the playbook. And you can kind of tell. All that being said, I think what I'm going to be looking for is just the consistency, not only for offense, but for defense, and the continuousness of the competition that I've seen amongst the offensive players and the defensive players. Iron is definitely sharpening iron on that football team, and I can see it. And I think, you know, really the physical look of the team is going to really surprise people once you get a chance to see this Razorback version of the 2019 football team. I think that's going to jump out. And I want to see the quarterbacks continue to push one another. I want the quarterbacks to continue to get in the end zone. And at the end of the day, it's the quarterback that's going to win the team. And I say it again, from my vantage point where I sit and cover the program, to me it looks like KJ and Nick Starkle, but you want to redshirt KJ. Looks like Nick Starkle. I do think you're right. Ben Hicks will take the first snap August 31st in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, but that's going to be no disrespect. I anticipate to see all 4 quarterbacks. And then you start to see the way this program is going. Also, too, I think there was, you know, the depth on the offensive line. I know there was only 30% of the offense, but when you only had 8 offensive linemen, it's kind of hard to be an effective offense when those guys are getting banged up on Saturdays and having to come back, get a little treatment on Sunday. You get that day off, then you're back on the practice field, and you only have 8, and sometimes you're working with 7. So you're really not getting a chance to rest your body, to get back to, you know, where you can be productive. I think with the addition of, you know, several offensive linemen, Arkansas is about 15 deep when you discount Noah Gatlin. There's 15 offensive linemen, and so you're getting 3, you know, you have 3 sets of 5, 3 rotations in these guys. And also, I think the biggest thing for me this year is the way that they're splitting up on both fields, 1s and 3s, 2s and 4s, and everybody are getting the same amount of reps. I think that's going to come in and pay big dividends as this season goes on. Chad made a note, Coach Craddock made a note, that there was a lot of standing around during team periods last year, and all these kids, you're just a play away, and in particular in the SEC. So I think when that 4th-teamer is getting just as much reps on the same plays offensively, or that 4th-teamer on defense is getting the same scheme and reps defensively, I think when those kids, if there isn't, you know, an advantage and you need him to go out there, I think he goes out more prepared, because, you know, if you're getting the same amount of reps, nobody's getting more than the other, and it allows Coach Morris and that staff to get film on each and every kid, the same amount of film, the same plays, in the same situation, and you can see who's going to be your top 22 or your top 44 football players. And you get a chance to say, hey, we got these, well, we can put these over on special teams. I think that's going to be real big, and it's going to pay dividends. I can't tell you enough. Like I said, I was one of the people that was kind of skeptical when I saw that on opening day. But as it went on, I kind of understand, and the kids seem to like it as we meet with them during the week out for media availability.
I mean, I think it only makes sense. When you're talking about time and you only have an X amount of plays and time and practice skills, it only makes sense to split it up in two.
Right.
And I think with the type of team they have with so much youth, you have to do that. I think had they had a little bit more experience with guys that they for sure could trust, but I think because they had so much competition in open positions that they had to make sure they made a fair adjustment amongst everybody. So, like you said, I'm glad they kind of implemented this. I think you're going to see a better result, and I think these younger guys are going to come around a little faster.
And I'm really excited. There's a new thing happening on Razorback Road. I believe it's going to be a big tailgate party on Maple Street. A lot of new things that that Hunter Yurchek and the Razorback event staff will be trying to implement, kind of bringing back some traditions. But I know one guy that we really trust, and that's going to be Grant Morgan. Had a chance to talk to Grant, and Coach Chavis was real high on Grant and that linebacker core following the scrimmage on Saturday. But we talked to Grant, and here's what he had to say about scrimmage number 1 in fall camp.
For me personally, I thought it went well. We got to run a lot of plays. There's a couple plays you always take back and you're saying I need to do better on that. But as a defense, I think we did well. I think we flew around. Energy got real low at the end, but that's just something we got to get in better shape, better playing shape. I think we're getting into practicing shape now. We got to get into game shape.
Chief said when Scooter came out Saturday that you went in there on his spot and there was no drop off at all.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like it's time that's
Yeah.
going to happen this year?
Yeah, definitely. I think that whenever Scooter needs a break, I think we're not going to see any drop off in the defense. I think we're going to be just as aggressive. We can call the same calls as when Scooter's in and when he's not in. I definitely think that everyone respects me enough to be able to respond to my calls and respond to my leadership. I think I've earned that just from 2 years of playing, and then this spring it really helped with him being out. Just seeing how I've just been growing in the leadership role.
Can you play all 3 spots?
Yes, I can. We worked me a little bit at Sam the other day just in case, because we're going to play Portland State and we may run a lot of base, a little 3 linebacker formation. So just knowing as much as you can is just best for the defense.
Who's some guys who could surprise the linebacker?
I think we've got a good little rotation going right now. The first 2 groups definitely. I think Hayden Henry's going to definitely surprise a lot of people this year. I think just seeing him, he's been running with me today, and we feed off each other so much, and he just makes plays. This past scrimmage, he made a lot of plays. See, I don't know about special teams, because on special teams, we just I lock into myself just because I want to be able to be known as a guy who can rely on special teams. But I think he's been doing well. I talked to Coach Lunny, Coach DePrado, a couple people, just seeing how people do it. I think that he's been excelling in that. On defense, he's just got to get more knowledge down. He's got to be able to know what he's going to do at every single play if something happens. Obviously, get him his size, get him big.
Welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition of here with Pat Teen Sports Talk Radio, coming to you here on KDSJ 479 with our 30-minute version of On the Hill today. We'll make a note. We will be going back to our normal scheduled time on Monday. Or also, too, I'll make a note. 1 to 2. We'll be here as fall camp moves back into the evenings, and we'll be covering in the evening and have much information all throughout the week. And also, to another note, write it down. Whatever you got to do, don't forget. The SEC Caravan starts on Monday, as well as we'll make our way around to all 13 of the SEC schools and get a take on how fall camp is going at each and every campus institution, and just get you up to date for all listeners, all viewers. Let you find out what's going on with your particular school here in the SEC. That all begins on Monday. The SEC Caravan, brought to you each and every year by OTH. But we'll let you hear audio from senior linebacker.
Hey, let them know about the Bulldog. Friday Bulldog, too, while they listen.
Oh, yeah, and also, too, we made a note, and I made an announcement last week. We'll gladly say it again. You can catch On the Hill Sports Talk, Pat Jenkins, myself, with the play-by-play each and every Friday starting August 30th of the Fayetteville Football Bulldogs broadcast. Will be video coming to you live on 106.1 FM KRRD Red Dirt Radio. Be sure to tune in. Broadcast will come on each and every Friday at 6:30 with the pregame show. You'll hear from Coach Casey Dick, and get all predictions from myself and our crew. But that'll all begin, if you want to tune in, August 31st. We'll be doing football and basketball, and also too, we're going to be bringing all live broadcasts of the boys and girls Fayetteville Bulldogs basketball this coming season. And if you'd like to sponsor, you can reach us on our Facebook page. You can hit us up at On the Hill Sports Talk, or you can also contact us at 601-7400, area code 479, and just reach out to myself or Demetrius. And if you have interest in being a part of this season's Fayetteville Bulldogs athletic broadcast for the 2019-2020 school year. But that's going to wrap it up. We want to also show love to our sponsors, as this would not be possible for us to be bringing you all this good information each and every day without our sponsors. With that being Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont, Locomotion. It's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. And lastly, our good buddy, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. Residential, commercial. If you want it to look good, Corey's got you covered. Make sure you get in touch with Corey Beck's Custom Painting each and every day.
Let me make one more shout out, and we want to give a shout out to iHeartRadio. If you guys don't catch our show live or check us out on YouTube, you can check all our shows out on iHeartRadio.
We got Spotify,
and we will be on Spotify this season. So if you got Spotify and you're just in your car and you don't have a way to listen to us, just click on the podcast on Spotify and check us out.
Well, I told you, he's the best in the business, and we the best in the business, because we're going to bring it to you real and uncut here on OTH each and every day. But that's going to do it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one. Let's get it.